Hey everyone, it's me, Pacific. I'm just kind of sitting in my room here, window open, listening to synthwave, as I do in the morning sometimes. And today, I really wanted to talk about inflation, right? Because the number just came out. Inflation in June is at 9.1%. You know, we've all been seeing like eights across the board, and all of a sudden it's 9. It's like, dude, is inflation like a cryptocurrency, or what is it? But what I wanted to talk about today is my personal experience with inflation and my cost of living and how it's drastically higher than this 9.1% inflation that the Fed keeps telling us is the US dollar inflation rate. Now, before we actually get into the video, I want to tell you guys, I am only 23 years old. I have not studied finance. In fact, most of what I understand about finance comes from random internet articles I read about numbers and an investing YouTube channel and Economics Explained. So understand that I am not an expert, and all of the data and information that I will be sharing with you in this video is all just what I've seen where I live, or it's anecdotal evidence, which means it's my personal experience. So don't use this for education, use it for entertainment. So 9.1% year-to-date inflation. When someone says that, what that tells me is that basically in June, right, that's when we got the number, from June in 2021 to June in 2022, which is now, that the prices have gone up by 9.1%. We've had 9.1% inflation. That's how I understand it when someone tells me that, which feels extremely false because at the gas pump, for example, we've all been hearing about rising gas prices. My gas bills have practically doubled over like 2 years, right? Most of that happened, a couple months ago because gas companies are evil. My food has gone up dramatically. Okay. A package of bacon, for example, that's 3 pounds of bacon used to be $20 and maybe on sale for 18, 17 bucks. Now it's like 30 bucks. The price of chicken in almost every grocery store has literally doubled in the past year per pound, if not gone up by like 50%. Like, we have a Safeway where I live, which is just your standard, like, middle of the road grocery store. I used to be able to get chicken there. Sometimes it would be on sale for $2 a pound. And normally it was $3 a pound. Now it's like $4 to $5 a pound. And that chicken that's on sale for $2 a pound, which is like frozen and thawed, is now like $3, right? And prices just keep going up and up. This store that I used to shop at for chicken, they'd sometimes have it for $2 or $1.50 a pound, and now it's $3 or $4, sometimes $5 a pound if you get the right cut. Like, things like that keep going on every single food item. If it's not 100%, it's a lot, even if it's a cheap food item. What we do instead of drinking soda at home is we buy, basically we call it bubble water. It's club soda. It's just carbonated water in a big 2-liter, right? And then we add like flavors, like Mio basically to it. That thing used to be $1 for a 2-liter, and now it's $1.25. That's a 25% increase, 25% inflation, right? Over 2 years, that would be 12.5% per year. It's not this 9.1% number that the Fed keeps telling me, right? My wages also haven't gone up either. My wages haven't kept up with this inflation either. 3 years ago, I got hired at Walmart and I made $15 an hour. This is 3 years ago. Now, I make $17 an hour at a job where I have to pay for my own tools, right? So really, like, all that extra money I make gets eaten up by tools. But here's the thing. In 3 years, that's 12%. My wages have only gone up 4% each year, technically speaking. And so even if it's the inflation that the Fed's reporting is correct, my wages haven't gone up each year that amount. I've probably lost, if I just did some rough math guessing on the Fed's inflation rate and wages and all that, I've probably taken a pay cut of like somewhere between 5 and maybe 7% each year. But that's for sure not the case because, well, I have access to my bank account. I can see where my money goes, and it's going faster than ever. Even my electric bill has gone up by a lot, and I don't know why, but normally in the summer, I pay 80 bucks for electric bill, right? Now, all of a sudden, I'm paying 200 bucks, and I haven't added any electronics into my house. I even went back to my bill when I was doing heavy video editing. Like that was my main source of income, was video editing. And during those months, I think my bill only went up by like $8. Now it's like $200 a month, and I don't know why. So that's just some of the inflation that I'm experiencing. It's a lot more than 9.1%. I mathed it all out, and roughly from 2020 to 2022, so 2 years, each year has gone up by a minimum of 25%. That doesn't include the cost of things like luxury items like newer clothes, right? I had to buy some clothes for work. I don't know if it's more expensive or not. Like shoes, electronics, all sorts of like luxury stuff. That's only the necessities that I've mathed out. So yeah, whenever someone says inflation's 9.1%, at least for me, I'm like, that's BS. Because I also talk to other people here and there, you know, especially when I was working at caregiving, I never had a consistent partner that I worked with, so I got to talk with everyone and overhear stuff. And I like, when I talk to people and I like to hear stories from them, I try not to use my scientific data from people I know or friends, because I know that they're going to say things to me in kind of a more emotional way. Plus, they're my friends. And if I don't pay attention, you know, if anyone doesn't pay attention, they're going to hang out with people that agree with them on a lot of stuff. That's why on Facebook, if your parent or someone you know posts a lot of political things on the right or left, all of a sudden they unfollow all their friends from the opposite political side, and they all agree on the same thing, right? Your friends are gonna, most of the time, be the same way, right? So if I'm always talking about inflation, I'm probably gonna end up around people eventually that always talk about inflation. Which is why I kind of take what strangers or acquaintances say more seriously, because we haven't really been able to spend enough time around each other to like subconsciously kick each other out of our mind or whatever. But from what little I've heard from people that I used to work with, their cost of things like electronics wasn't really going up that much. It was all talk about food, right? Healthcare, medicine, that sort of thing. Basically necessities. That could have also been because we were all working a minimum wage job, and, well, none of us have experience buying luxuries, because what's a luxury when you make minimum wage? I know a lot of these inflation videos tend to talk about solutions, like all the Fed's raising the rate, the recession, the debt, right? All sorts of things. I don't really want to talk about that. And I think it's great hearing all of these solutions, but so far it doesn't feel like anything's working. In fact, so far it seems like things are just getting more and more expensive faster. And it's only a matter of time before it seems like things get worse. And I know that's almost like a black pill way of looking at it, you know? I've been black pilled because I watch all this inflation news, but I just think in the short term, it doesn't feel like things are lightening up. I know sometimes people talk about the soft landing or like temporary inflation, but all it kind of feels like, if you think about the the pre-COVID world, which feels like eons ago, like 80 years ago, right? If I think about price increases during pre-COVID, all that like the post-COVID inflation crap has done is it feels like it made that process that was already happening faster. So it's almost like ripping the Band-Aid off faster. So even though I don't think anything's working, I think the process of ripping the Band-Aid off is actually just faster. And overall, that's what I think, because, well, I don't know. I just think that way. I have no idea why I think that way. Mostly it's just because there's that pattern of costs constantly going up that we've all been used to for the past like 20 years. And it's just going faster, right? Which means issues are going to come up faster. If you think about it, you know, a little bit logically, if problems are happening faster, that means the issues are going to come up faster, which means hopefully the solution's going to come up faster. And what we would avoid, I actually think this is a good thing, is that whole frog in a boiling pot of water thing, where, especially where I live, it felt like that slow, kind of every year is just a little bit more financially painful. Every year, but just a little bit. Now, it's like, all right, fuck all of you. Everything's more expensive, and you're all gonna starve. And now, instead of this slow, painful burn, where it's kind of easy to ignore, it's very hard to ignore. In fact, I haven't found a single person, at least where I live in town, and whether it's a stranger or otherwise, where like they're not at some point talking about inflation. Like when the polls of whatever the internet news organizations say that like inflation's on everybody's mind, I actually believe it because where I live, it is on everybody's mind. So yeah, I don't know why the Fed's reporting 9.1% inflation. Maybe it's because of whatever metrics they're using, but 100%, that's not the case where I live. It's more like minimum 25% year to date. Or when they say year to date inflation's 9.1%, I'm just like, no. That's the monthly inflation. But let me know what you think in the comments below. Where do you live? Like, what's going on where you live? Are you having the same thing where like everyone's talking about inflation? Or like you're just noticing prices are definitely going up faster than 9.1% a year? Like, I feel like the minimum price increase that's happening where I live is 25% year over year. That's the minimum. The maximum's like 100. So I might be wrong with my math. I might be living in like 50% inflation year over year. And, you know, maybe I'm just buying steak less and buying chicken more, or buying less chicken and more ramen. So I'm not actually like noticing the effects, but subconsciously I'm just not buying products. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, that's exactly what's happening. I don't remember the last time I bought raw beef. But anyways, that's gonna be it for this video on the vlog channel. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, subscribe down below and stay tuned for more videos. The recession and inflation is something that I like to follow, and I like to kind of just think about it and try to pick the misinformation, or at least when someone says it's 9.1% inflation, I'm like, hold up. Where I live, it is definitely not 9.1% inflation. That's it. I'm Pacific, and I will see you in the next one.